watch Gossip Girl with me. If you knew my story word for word, had all of my history, would you rewatch Gossip Girl with me?
There's plenty of upsides to being the spawn of the fabulous wealthy, but the downside? Super successful parents expect nothing less from their offspring. And when it comes to college, that means the Ivies. It's more than just getting into college, it's setting the course for the rest of your life. And for those who aren't legacies, the pressure are no less. When parents have sacrificed for their children's future, what kid would want to let them down? XOXO, Gossip Girl. Actually, I'm Alexandra. Welcome back. Gossip Girl. Woo! Put the phone away. Who else we got here? Let's introduce the crew. We got Jack Cam. Bam! We got Big Mac Cam. Bam! These are my babies. And they're hanging out while we record. We got... Who's that producer over there?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Who, me?
So for those who are not tuned into the YouTube video, who are you? What's going on? What's your fit about?
I'm just trying to get into Dartmouth.
You are, okay.
Yeah.
So that's Nate was trying to get into Dartmouth.
Yeah. Nate's trying to get in. I'm trying to get in.
You're looking very Chuck Bass. You've got like a blue blazer on, an oversized scarf, a pink polo with the collar popped, a pink tie, and some really cool badass sunglasses. Like, it's just giving Chuck Bass.
That's right. Thank you.
A moment for Brent.
It's so loud. Oh my god. All right. Note to self: don't hit that one again.
You're too flattering. Oh, okay, guys. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's great. Thank you. All right, now a moment for my fit. First and foremost, we do the gloss. We put the gloss on, and then we get it going. So today, episode 3, season 1. Glossed up. Brought to you by Revlon. 16-hour long stay lip stain.
Shout out Revlon.
Shout out Revlon. Shout out drugstore
Are
makeup.
they cruelty free?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, we're gonna leave the gloss here. So what we're doing, there's no iPad, right? We're just coming in fresh from watching the episode. So I took a couple of notes, like 6 pages, because there's a lot to talk about. This episode is called Poison Ivy, and it's named after the movie Poison Ivy that was directed by Kat Shea and released in 1992. It's a thriller starring Drew Barrymore and Sarah Gilbert. And I'd also like to circle back to the last episode, The Wild Bunch. Yeah, the last episode was called The Wild Brunch, but it was based on the movie The Wild Bunch. And I didn't really talk about that a lot, but I want to share that the director of that also wrote the screenplay, and it's a Western.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, so it was released in 1969, a Western directed and written also by Sam Peckinpah. So there you go. Like I said, every episode is named after a movie pun, so we will definitely be talking about that at the opening of the show. Welcome back to the Met Steps. You know, the fall, climate change, it's not as crispy. I am in my Blair Waldorf fit for Ivy Day.
Spotted on the steps of the Met. And
So we're going to do moment for the fit. So she was rocking a dark blue blazer.
Spotted.
With a very nice yellow button up. And, you know, she had a blue skirt. I have navy blue pants. I got my loafers on.
Spotted.
So it's Blair meets Alexandra. She also had some pearls and a nice little pin. Okay, so I got a duck here, a little duck pin. We've got her hair up. It's a rare moment where Blair has her hair up. So, we're chic, we're professional, and we're ready to impress. We're ready to impress the school we want to go to, which is Yale.
That's enough, ladies.
It's never enough. All right. Oh, Jack Cam. We got Jack Cam. She's up there.
Yeah, I mean they're both just chilling in the frame right now. Just thought I'd leave them up for a while. They're hella cute.
She's got her little 2000 millennial giant beanie baby up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brent, before I start kind of doing the play-by-play, immediate hot takes, because we just watched the episode. You're now 3 in.
Yeah.
Where
I'm just remembering. Hold on, let me put my shot up here.
Yeah, let's see you.
I'm finally just remembering who everybody is, and
Yay.
I'm kind of getting into the story, and they sparks were flying this episode. The drama's heating up. And I know in the last 2 episodes I hated on Chuck Bass heavily, but now I'm a Bass head.
Oh, whoa. Pause. That's so good. And I'm so glad because as a Blair person, definitely want you to be a Chuck. Okay.
Well, now that I'm like in the fit and I'm kind of embodying the character, I'm just gonna, I'm going to Dartmouth. Where was he trying to go? I forget.
He wasn't trying to go.
He doesn't care, right?
He didn't give a fuck. He was leaving the assembly to go hit his one hitter.
That's right.
Pipe. So I have notes of who was interested in what college, and there is no notes for Chuck's college.
Got it.
But
he doesn't care. He's already set. He's Chuck Bass.
You said it. He's Chuck Bass. Okay. And what makes you a Chuck head?
Biggest I've ever heard.
Oh, that wasn't what I was.
Talk to Chuck, buddy.
There we go. Talk to Chuck, buddy. What did you ask me?
Like, why? I don't know. Just why are you a Chuck head now? Like, what?
I'm not. I think he's such a douche, honestly. But he is the funniest dressed, and so now he's just like Blair's little like private eye detective in the like he's a little errand boy for Blair now in this episode.
Why do you think that is?
Because he's trying to get at that. He's a little playboy. He can't keep it in his pants. Come on,
shoot.
man.
Oh shoot. Okay, but do you think that he's doing like a lot? Like that's kind of extra. Like some girls can't even get texts back, and he's like getting all the Ostroff doctor. He's pulling up in the limo and scheming, and it's kind of going far.
He loves the drama for sure. He loves being an agitator, and well, Blair's like super wealthy, like famous about town, right? So everybody kind of wants to get in with Blair and be a part of that circle.
Her mom's a fashion designer, and Waldorf is supposed to evoke like Waldorf Astoria and the wealth of historical New York. So yes,
got it. So that's why the scene where her like little minion friends were like rubbing ice packs on her, and she's like, I think it's a little cold now. I want some heat, and she just has little minions.
Yes, the minions are key, and I want you to pick up as minions come in there. They become more a part of the plot, but their outfits are always like the extra kind of like you missed the hit. You were trying to go for the trend, but they're like a little tacky and loud, and you'll definitely notice that. But it's campy and comical. But yeah. It's funny because these characters are, like I said, like I identify with Blair, but like I'm not manipulative, I'm not competitive, like I would never like tell secrets of somebody. Like this is a for fun fantasy fake crazy drama land where we kind of lean into that, so it's okay.
It's Chuck's scarf.
It is. So I hope you are tuning in. You've pulled up a cozy spot for yourself, and you're here to chat and reflect about episode 3, because we're we're like in it. And I forget how quick some really iconic moments happen. So the episode starts. It was aired on October 3rd, 2007. Ah, what a time to be alive. 2007.
Oh, that's 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Aired every Friday, huh?
Well, I don't know what day of the week 2007
Oh yeah, that's
October
true.
3rd was.
That's true.
Whatever prime time CW was, it was airing. And we had to wait every week for this. And there was commercial breaks. It was like, oh, what's happening next? Oh my God, next week. Ah. So it was like a really big, cool event that you could talk to about at school with your friends and as it was happening. Okay, we're opening up and we're getting ready. We're seeing shots of the big day at school. We're leading up to the big event for this episode, which is the Ivy Week mixer, Friday night mixer, where there'll be representatives from the Ivy League schools, and you'll get to talk to them and have kind of an upper hand to get admissions. And there are roles for ushers. So you are hoping to get paired to be an usher for the school that you want. There's only one usher per school, and there'll be interviews for that. So in the morning, this episode opens up with the choir. Do I have the choir behind me?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, heck yeah. So Brenty has a skill. He's a very talented musician, and he can sing and finish like any song I start and don't know where like the lyrics go. And so we have a really fabulous Glamorous by Fergalicious coming in a cappella to like after Gossip Girl monologue fades out, it's like this is fading in. First class up in the bells and a dancing, and they're all like this, living the life. Come on, Brent, and the champagne, living the life, and the flowers.
Flossy, flossy.
Fabulous.
You know what I liked about that scene?
What?
Was that they weren't very good.
Okay.
They were very pitchy.
Okay. Accurate.
And then after they finished, nobody clapped.
That was I noted that.
Left them hanging.
Okay, so we got that Glamorous by Fergie coming in a cappella. It was realistic to school choir, right? Little J's in the choir, clock that. And then I wrote no applause, question mark. I was like, what is that?
Yep, just left them hanging. But a lot of times when they have like school choirs and stuff and shows, they sound way too good and they're like processed.
Like Glee.
Glee. I mean, that makes sense because that was like a singing show, but it just felt a bit more realistic to have them be pitchy and like not perfect.
That's awesome.
I
love that you picked that up because I think, especially since this show was made 18 years ago, things have shifted in how television is presented, obviously. Whether there's laugh tracks or the style of the opening credits, and, certain documentaries suddenly had every single opening being like this, or I don't know. It's a reflection of the time. And I didn't notice that necessarily. So I thought that was interesting. So we're getting this really cool, like, intro of people getting ready, and the first thing we see is Dan Humphrey. He's got these sideburns. He's in baby Dan phase because with his shaved hair and the sideburns, that's just baby Dan. Okay, baby lonely boy, and he cuts himself like so many times shaving, and he's got the toilet paper all over his face.
Oh yeah, just a note on that. You see that in movies and shows and stuff all the time with the paper on the face.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that. I don't think anybody does that.
Okay, first of all,
I've never seen it.
Okay, and pause. Thank you to my father. He's a boomer.
You seen your dad do that?
Oh my gosh, yes. So he's the kind of guy that would get a 5 o'clock shadow. He used to have to shave like twice a day, and he would in the morning have sometimes a dad, nothing like Dan, but I've absolutely seen it and I've learned it. So whenever I have like a little blemish or something I've picked or whatever, I'll put a little piece of toilet paper, and I've learned that from my dad. That does happen.
Okay.
He was using a razor and shaving cream, not a electric. So maybe it's not of our era.
Sure.
So I have to debunk that. Debunked.
It does happen in the real life.
It does,
Gotcha.
yeah. Then we cut to Chuck and we see him at school getting, sitting there in the assembly pews with his giant iconic scarf. It's getting keyed up by the school announcer. It's like the most important night of your life, this Friday night Ivy League mixer. Then we're cutting back and while we're seeing these people at the assembly, and everyone's like, where's Serena? She's late. We're cutting back and having little flashback moments to the cast getting ready in the morning and prepping for this. So the first thing we saw was Dan getting ready and shaving and cutting himself, and they're having coffee, and little Jay is trying to like encourage him, and Rufus is like, oh, there's no chance you won't get the usher. You're second in your class, you're well deserved. Rufus is oblivious to the privilege at the school, yada, yada, yada. And here I'm also clocking for the first time a slight transition in Little J. Little J has got a lot of rings and accessories and black nail polish on, a foreshadowing for what's to come. Okay, so then we are seeing them back in the
True.
Yep. We're back in the pews, and Chuck leans over to Nate and is like, I'm going to go hit my one hitter. That means it's like a little thing where he's going to go hit like one little tiny puff of pot.
I thought he was about to hit that shit in the pew during the assembly, because he was like leaning over like he was about to just light that thing up.
I know,
it's
right?
Like, geez, this guy doesn't care at all.
Going Miley Cyrus with it. I love it. Shout out to Miley Cyrus. Woo! Love her. Queen. So he kind of leans over, I think, to like tell her that. And then he just bounces. He's out. So like I said, we don't know what school he's interested in. Then we're seeing Nate's flashback because he's left in the assembly pew by himself. And we're seeing the morning run that he had with his dad. And his dad is like really competitive. And he was like, I think Nate beat him, but he was like, you cut me off. And if you're going to win, you got to win fair. And, Nate tries to assert again that he's not sure about going to Dartmouth, that he is interested in going west to USC. And
This party is for you. Okay.
Yeah, his dad is the fucking worst. We'll get into it. There's a lot of people who are the fucking worst, but his dad, if you've watched this show, fucking sucks. And I think it's very accurate to people and offspring of people like this. When you have that kind of wealth and power, comes corruption. Checking in. We got the Jack Cam and the Big Mac Cam.
They're both out like a light.
Yeah.
Nice glass, by the way. Is that Mayor McCheese?
Yeah, so we went thrifting at an Emporium, and I found a vintage Big Mac collector's cup from McDonald's. And our dog is named Macchiato Bean Cornelius, aka Big Mac. And so I'm drinking water, our sponsor, tap water, unofficial. So Nate tries to put his foot down, and then his dad is like, yeah, that guy, Mayor McCheese. No.
Yeah, it's Mayor McCheese.
Okay, well, we didn't get Mayor McCheese. We have the Big Mac cup.
Who's on the cup?
That's Big Mac. You got to look up.
Oh, he's like a police
Mayor
officer.
Mayor McCheese is different. Big Mac is the sheriff.
Oh, here he is.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Officer Big Mac.
Yeah. Oh. I kind of didn't know he was
ACAB, am I right?
I didn't know he was ACAB. Oh man. No. That's,
Is he one of the good ones?
What's up with the stuff? All right, we're moving on. This is just a cool vintage cup that I am drinking out of. Gotta stay hydrated. I'm gonna also re-gloss real quick. We're just still in the opening episode, opening scene, Brent team.
Yeah, let's move on.
No, I just wish you could be all. I wish if you're not on YouTube, I wish you could be just like here in our studio with us laughing at this because this is great. This background with the. Okay. Nate's dad's like, Nate, shut the fuck up. You're going to Dartmouth, then you're going to law school, and then you're marrying Blair. That's the fucking life. Okay, I'm getting a little vulgar.
We can bleep you later if you want.
No, we're not bleeping. This is a real adult podcast, and I am going to be my authentic self. And yes, I do swear.
There you go.
And then and then now we're seeing Blair.
No offense, little bit.
Yeah, we're seeing Blair waiting, and she's like, people are talking about where Serena is, why is she late? She's like, I don't care. Shut up. I'm trying to get into Yale. And then we see her morning, and she's prancing down the beautiful penthouse spiral staircase to her morning spread of breakfast, and she's laying out in her wonderful silk robe and talking about how much she loves Yale, and her father went to Yale, and she thinks the bulldog is adorable, and it then flashes back to the assembly and announces that, you know, the host of this IV mixer is, of course, Blair's charity committee. Shout out Blair for just doing everything. And then we go back to her penthouse and we see her and the conversation and the excitement that she has and she's sharing. You don't see who she's saying it to yet. And it really feels like she should be saying it to a mom, right? Morning of. And you see who she's saying it to. Dorota, somebody very important. And again, Dorota is that friend, that mother, that person who's like really there for her in her life to listen to her and care for her. And it kind of made me sad because it's like, I knew who it was going to pan to, but rewatching it as an adult, I'm seeing these things differently. And the gaps that having all this wealth can create. You think, oh, money fills all these gaps. Well, I see a lot of gaps created, distance between parents, and real connections and wholesome, you know, wants for your child to be genuinely happy and not just approval by society, yada, yada, yada. So we got Nate Dartmouth, we got Blair Yale. Now we go to Serena and she's running late and her mom is like, you know, trying to catch up about like, well, how are things with Blair and like, what's up with Nate? And it's like, are you trying to like get me to school on time? Or are you trying to like get the tea, mom? And she's got this really iconic gray suede knee-high boot on. She's got the plaid skirt. She's doing a long gray like sweater vest and then a blazer and some sort of kind of bohemian head wrap band. It's beautiful, but she's late and it's giving hot mess. And she wants to get into Brown because that's her family legacy. Guess what? She missed the assembly. She shows up. Oh my God, is it over? And she runs into Dan and he's like, yeah. I was just there. It's over, Queen. And he's still pissed, right? He found out her true colors. She slept with Nate, her best friend's boyfriend. I mean, it's just, he was like, I'm not having this, right? It's giving big time hot mess, right? And then Serena walks by, or Blair walks by it, and she's like, don't worry, you know, it's okay that you missed it because Yale doesn't give out degrees in slut. It's like, woo, girl, we do not be doing that to our friends. That one didn't age well. Whoops. Ouch, Blair. Okay. And so she's all like huffy and puffy and I missed it. And she gives us those iconic Serena hot mess kind of feel for her eyes. And then it's like, it's on. Okay, we're going to make a hard cut to gym class, to field hockey. Okay, the field hockey scene between Blair and Serena is crazy. And the song, I got it from my mama. I got it from my mama. Starts going and you see like Blair This is where I can relate to Blair because, young and little scrappy girl over here at soccer, just very aggressive. People push it down. You gotta get up twice as hard. But she's going.
I did punch someone.
She's going like Tanya Harding. I would never do that. She's like brutally.
Just whacking her with the field hockey stick.
Yeah. And then like they're trying to have a conversation mid-game. Serena's like, look, like, I just want to like put this behind. And they're like running around. She's like, I just really want to. I'm like, I don't think this is the time to try to work through the Nate situation and battle and scream and like.
It's 10.
I mean, what did you think about that? And then the sticks were down and it was a full-on brawl.
Yeah, when girls are pissed off at each other, they can get pretty brutal. And then to give them field hockey sticks and to just have them go at it. And you know what? The ref was not helpful.
I didn't even notice the ref.
The ref was there like throwing up cards and stuff, but was just kind of letting it happen.
Yeah, she got a bunch of cards, flags on the play, Blair, but she somehow still got to go in there. One of my favorite things is that you said when that scene came on, the first thing you said was, "What is that belt?"
Oh, yeah, I got to pull that up.
Oh, God, that belt is a staple of 2010s fashion.
But like, they're basically in their PE gear, right?
Yeah, but they always have this ridiculous amount of like customization and accessories that would never be allowed at like any type of private school. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you got to get that behind me. So this belt, if you were there, if you lived through this as a young adult, you probably had this belt. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to point this way. Yeah. So it's like silver white, thick. It's a waist belt. It's elastic. You know what I'm talking about. It's belted and it clips and it's very thick and it clips in the middle. You could put this bitch over anything. And the way she's rocking it over this like red skirt, it's iconic. I kind of want to recreate that and I need a belt like that in my life. I had that belt in a camel color and in a black color.
It's like, oh, it's time to play field hockey. Let me put on this giant sparkly belt.
Yep. What about that doesn't make sense to you? Walk me through it.
It just doesn't seem practical for playing a sport. I don't know. But it's more about the fashion. I get it.
Okay, thank you. I was waiting for you to come to that conclusion to yourself. It's like, what part of do I give a fuck about practicality do you think this show is about? Do you see how glossed up and perfect their hair is in every shot? My goodness. All right, so then, things are getting crazy. They stand up, and she's like, Serena can't resolve it. And she's like, you're really going to do this? And then Blair starts screaming, ow, my leg, ow. Like Serena hit her or something. Classic manipulative Blair. Okay. So now we're over that big brawl. I got it from my mama. It was heating up. Nothing was resolved except some bruises. And that doesn't resolve anything, folks. Violence does not resolve anything. So now we're cutting to the interviews that the students are having in hopes of becoming an usher. First, we see Dan, and he's like, I'd like to start this interview in 3 parts. And I'm going to start with the 3rd part. Unless actually that would be confusing. Then I can start with the first part. And it's a little bit awkward, and you feel for him. This moment means everything to him, and he really is passionate about the person who is the usher. It's an author. He's very familiar with his work. And basically at the end of the interview, it's basically like, he ends it with, I've been dreaming of Dartmouth, but what if Dartmouth has really been dreaming about me? Because I'm the perfect candidate. And I was like, and scene.
Yeah, that made me cringe.
I was like,
sure.
Yeah. Yikes. All right, now we're at Nate's interview, and he's got the side part just like a skosh away from emo. If it had been a little bit darker and his shirt was different, he could have been in the scene. And it's a good switch up from the first episode where he was half mullet, half Jonathan Taylor Thomas. It's just more updated, right? We're leaving the 90s behind. It's now 2007. And he's, given his interview, but he's being very candid and saying, look, I'm not sure if Dartmouth is the right fit for me. I'm thinking of other schools. So I really think you should maybe consider somebody else for the usher position. Whoa. Talk about taking action and life into your hands. Yeah.
Nathaniel, keep it down.
And then we cut to Chuck's interview, and the interview, it's iconic. He's like, well, why do you think you should get this? And the guy leans back, and I knew the line. I said it before he said it. And what's the line, Brent? No! Stop it! No, not that. Don't go back.
Sorry.
No, don't. No, we're done with
I'm
that.
Chuck Bass.
What did he say as the reason as to why he should be accepted into school?
Because I'm Chuck Bass.
I think that's the first time that he says, I'm Chuck Bass. As a reason, as a statement, as a yes, as a no, as a anything. Just like an end all be all. I am Chuck Bass. So yeah, that was a pretty powerful statement. That was his thing. So then it turns out that Dan didn't get the usher for Dartmouth. It went to Nate. They're standing there at the paper where it announces it. And Nate's like, hey, Dan, did you get the one you want? And Dan was like, no, you did. And he actually was being real with him. And he's like, it's crazy. I'm second in our class and you're what? Last? He really shows his frustration and the privilege there. And he's like, my dad didn't buy any libraries. Obviously, I didn't get this, but
This is not a platform for one of your anti-capitalist rants.
No, it is. It is. Do that again.
I don't know.
This is not a platform for one of your anti-capitalist rants.
It is though, because Dan was like, "Hey, I don't get to buy libraries. I'm very smart, and I deserve this academically, and it's just unfair. You fuck." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Dartmouth is far enough away for her.
Yeah, little mama's boy. God,
that's a hard life lesson though. That one. It doesn't matter how good you are. Other people with connections and more privilege will always sometimes be chosen over you.
Yeah, and money. Yeah, and it's very real. Nepotism and money and connections and privilege. So then, Dan is just huffing and puffing, and he's like, you might want to look up the book have you even read the book this guy had written? It's called The Petting Zoo. Just look it up, read his book. Because this guy is just so undeserving, doesn't even know who the guy is. And Nate's like, okay, thanks. And then runs into Serena. Okay, so then he heads out, and as he's leaving...
Do you ever feel like our whole lives have been planned out for us?
Yeah, that was from episode 1. And he was saying that to Chuck in Central Park. Mm-hmm.
Don't mock the scarf, Nathaniel. It's my signature.
That he also said that in the first one. And then Chuck said, I just don't think happiness is on the menu for us. And it was like, ooh, that's depressing. Okay. So as Dan is huffing away from that interaction with Nate, he runs into Serena in the hall. And there's a healing moment here. There's a healing moment. He chooses to share that Nate got the spot that he wanted with Dartmouth as the usher. And she's encouraging him and reminds her and saying, well, maybe. And he's like, look, bitch, where'd your parents go to school? She's like, Harvard and Brown. He's like, yeah, you don't understand my plight or my situation. So there's a little bit of healing and then a little bit of you don't get it. Just keep walking, sister. And then we cut to Blair. Boop, 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 calling up Chuck, and it's super flirty, and they're scheming. And this is where the minions, they're in the...
Hi, I'm Chuck.
I love the music in the background. Right? So she calls up Chuck, and they're working to bring Serena down. And she's laying there, because remember, she got an injury, supposedly, at the whatchamacallit, field hockey game, but it was fake. It was fake. But her two little minion friends are there icing, and then she's like, it's too cold. I need heat. And she's like taking this call, and they're scheming. And we see that Chuck is in a limo and has followed Serena, who just popped into the Ostroff Center, the mental health rehab situation, to visit Eric. So Chuck thinks he got her. Oh, she's in rehab. Oh, she's in treatment. I got the dirt that you need, girl. Like you said, he's like now all of a sudden her just like little spy mission schemer boy. Like, why does he want to bring her down? Like, it's all about and then yeah, he's in that limo and just thinks he's got the hottest tea, and he's wearing that fucking scarf. I said that with a Maine accent. He's wearing that scarf. Next scene, we cut to Humphreys, and they're having dinner, and Dan comes in and just slams the door. He's had a hard day. And Rufus goes in, and Dan is on the bed, and he tells him he didn't get it, and is like, Nate hadn't had an original thought in over a year, and just, I kind of had forgotten about the unit that the Humphreys have. They're all, it seems like they're very close, and they talk about their emotions, and I love that. There's something that
This is some good stuff.
Mm-hmm. It is some good stuff. There's, you know what I mean? Like, I like
Totally.
for like the whatever millionth time, I'm still seeing new things and understanding new things as I grow older, and dynamics, and the adult characters play such an important role, as did the young adult characters. So reflecting on all of that. And Rufus is wearing faded jeans. He's got his cord necklace. He's wearing like a loose, I think, Henley long sleeve. And little Jay is like, look, Dad, we're the Humphreys. We're not royalty. And he says, well, are you okay with that? And she says, no, but I'm used to it. So she's not okay with it, but she's used to it. So maybe like she wants to like do something to change it, and she's not just gonna accept that. And then
what's wrong with not being royalty in New York City?
Thank you. All right, let's talk about that. Like their desire. Little Jay has that big desire to be in that girl squad with Blair and Serena and Popular.
Well, it's like all these people that they're like rich and super high profile, but they're all like catty and kind of miserable and always fighting and in the drama. It's like,
they're not nice to each other, yet they're friends.
Yeah.
Like
Dan and his sister and the dad, they're like pretty down to earth, nice people so far, It's like,
oh yeah.
It's like, you can just be that. You can have goals and just go for more, but you don't need to be New York royalty.
No. And that's not a stepping stone to achieving what you want to achieve. Though when that's your daily life and you're surrounded by people with privilege and status to do things that you dream of doing, like Nate versus Dan, who is an aspiring author, and it can feel like you're in that bubble and you don't know how to get out of it or how to raise that ceiling, because that's like the focus when you're a teenager and high school is your world, right?
That's true.
We got the Jack in the back cam. Hello. You know what I mean? Like when you're that young and high school is your world, and you're put into something so different than what you were used to. I think you can relate to that from your high school experience, switching high schools from a very different demographic to another.
Yeah.
You kind of you get lost in the sauce, right? And he thinks, well, this is how they're going to achieve success. This is how I have to achieve success. But huge shout out because build your own, you know? But it is frustrating. Yeah. I'm frustrated as heck to have, you know, there's something he says here, Dan says, about Serena's choice at the event that we'll circle back to. Corporate talk. All right, so after that little flirty, I think I caught Serena at the Ostroff Center Chuck moment and the nice bonding moment with Dan Humphrey, even though he's upset. And wonderful discussion about not needing to be New York royalty. Hey, you're royalty if you put the crown on your own head. Everybody can be royalty, right? Let's go. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Rufus, Faded Dreams, Clock That. Serena walking montage. And then, okay, so the phone call between Chuck and Blair wasn't enough. We cut to Blair's bedroom. And on her personal computer, which we all had one in our bedroom to do our homework, a little homework on our computer in our bedroom, desktop, keyboard, they're looking they're looking at pictures that he took on his camera of her at the Ostroff Center. And there's this shot of her just looking like so distraught with like the sign next to her. And I'm just like, wow, it's kind of like a lot. You know, and before they meet up, she's with Nate, hanging out, and she takes the call from Chuck and pretends it's her mom. And she's like, hey, Mom, just so casually, just right in front of her boyfriend. I'm going to pick up this other guy. Hey, Mom, how's the fashion show? And it's Chuck. I got pictures. So she goes back to her house, and they're looking at these pictures, and he's like, oh, so here's the bed. And she's like, get out. But there's so much sexual tension, and there's so much chemistry happening. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we cut to the Ostroff Center, and they're having a group family therapy session with Lily, Eric, and Serena is just calling out the bullshit. Like, when are you going to be honest and stop telling people that he went to Aunt Carol's? You know, Eric may want to leave, and then, you know, what if he's not ready? And Lily wants to keep him there. And then the therapist is like, well, what if we ask Eric? And he's like, thanks, because I'm sitting right here in the fucking room. All right. I want to leave. And then he looks at his mom and he's like, feels bad. And he's like, doesn't want to embarrass his mother, Lily. And he's like, but maybe I'm not ready to. So the compromise is that he's going to go with Serena to the Ivy League mixer as a date. Take a break, come out, see some friends. It'll be great. Lily's like,
yes.
Oh God, no. And then she leaves. She pulls a Serena. Now we see where Serena says, I have to go. She literally says, I have to go. And I wrote, laugh my ass off. So Lily pulls a have to go on Serena and Eric, her two children, at therapy to go set up for this mixer because she's, you know, one of the chair people in charge. I can't. You should see my face right now.
This is a date.
She's like, what are you doing? So yeah, then we cut to Constance Spillard, and we got Rufus hounding a person that works for the school and is part of the event coordination, and is like, look, my son really should have been chosen as the Dartmouth usher. There was a mistake.
Band, crappy so-called art gallery.
Yeah, he's fighting hard for his son though, and he like is hounding this woman. Is like, look, he should have gotten this. There was a mistake. She's like, I can't do anything. Things are in motion, but you can talk to the chairperson. She's right over there. She's in a good mood today. And then he looks, and it's Lily, and he's like, oh, she won't be in a good mood when she sees me. Turns around. Absolutely
Until
right.
now.
Turns around. She's like, oh, Rufus, not today. Oh. And she's like, do you got a minute for me? And she's like, no. And she walks upstairs with a really big, glamorous, like, 2010s bag. But somehow he works out a deal that Dan can be a part of the event by working it with the catering or something, and Rufus is going to provide the entertainment. He's the entertainment committee now, aka he and the boys are going to do an acoustic called what did they call it?
Special occasion.
I think I forgot. I'll come to it. Rufus Unplugged. That's what it's called. Rufus Unplugged. And when we cut to that scene of Rufus Unplugged, he's got like a stand-up bass. And I'm just like, where the fuck did you get okay. Rufus Unplugged.
Serena, I'd like you to meet Rufus Humphrey.
Yep. Rufus Unplugged. And in this, scene where Rufus is telling Dan that he's going to be a part of the event, that he's going to play, Jenny's wearing like some denim overalls and is like, can I be your roadie? So she's going to get to go to the event. And yeah, now it's time for the event. And Serena's outfit is very 2010s. We will take a moment. It's a two-toned. The top, stops kind of like right underneath the bust. And it's like an off-white textured sleeveless dress.
That dress would look even better in black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this one's brown on the bottom. And it's open in the back. And she's wearing this really long, like complicated chain gold necklace with a bird on it. Yeah, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Right there. Oh, we got Brenty pulling up that image right there. So it's iconic. It's got that high waist and that low back and the bubble kind of aspect to it. It's like a little bit A-line, but also a little bit bubbly. And then she has that nice headscarf going with it. Again, like a very kind of bohemian, chic, put together, Mary-Kate and Ashley, Sienna Miller, I've mentioned that a bunch. And it's really now becoming, instead of those names, it's now really becoming Serena van der Woodsen, and the style is really just becoming her own. So that's a really classic moment. Blair chose a different look, and I think it's a great contrast visually of their personalities. So Blair is wearing a dark blue blazer with a fabulous yellow button-up. She's got pearls, she's got the pin, she's got her hair up, and a beautiful matching dark blue skirt. She is looking sharp. Yeah, look at our queen right there, huh? Oh, wow. I love that. Like, I need that yellow. So mine is kind of more a goldenrod, and hers is more of a canary yellow. But this look is a very standout
we got a GIF.
look. Oh, yeah. And you see the little pin.
Huge eye roll.
Huge eye roll. And it's kind of unique for her because we don't see her hair up a lot. So that's also why I've got my hair up. Also, I'm doing, I had purple eyeshadow, but she's kind of rocking some unique eyeshadow for her character, which is kind of a blue look. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. So that's the two fits for this Ivy mixer on Friday night. Rufus Unplugged, got a stand-up bass, and she walks in, and her mom's like, okay, well, the brown person's over there. And she's like, actually, I'm more interested in Yale. Because Serena came in, shots fired. She's like, I'm not here to play. I'm here to fuck around and have Blair find out. It's another,
Serena, why are you being like this?
Because that's who she is. So Serena's going to go after the Yale, and she walks right up to Blair, who's in the middle of her introduction with the contact from Yale. And she comes in, and she calls her out and is like, Crew, oh, you don't like getting your hair wet. You don't do any sports. Anyways, oh, it looks like your drink's empty. Let me go get that for you. And just swoops in and takes control of the conversation. So now it's a battle. It's a battle of Yale and the attention for Yale. Yeah. And then Chuck pulls her aside as Blair is kind of like, what the fuck, Serena? And says, oh, I've brought somebody for you, Dr. Ostroff. And it's like, what? It's like, oh, the doctor from the Ostroff Center. Okay, I'm making a
You're deeply disturbed.
Yeah, deeply disturbed indeed. Okay, she's about to do some shit. Some shit's about to go down. So like again, Nate is hooking her up with some major tea. It's so boiling that it's gonna scald the faces of some people. And so that's happening. Nate is talking to the Dartmouth guy, the usher, and it's very awkward. He doesn't know what to say, and he's trying to talk about the book that he didn't read. And he's like, yeah, maybe.
What's his name? I've read about him in Forbes or Rolling Stone.
The book again is called The Petting Zoo. And then during this event, you see that Eric is there with Serena, and people keep bumping into him. And the first person to bump into him is Bart Bass, Chuck's dad. And he's like, "Hey, Eric, how was Miami?" And he's like, "Go Marlins," you know. And then another person says, "How's Miami?" He's like, "Save the manatees." And little Jay sees that and is like, "What the heck?" He's like, "It's a long story." And she's in the blue strapless dress that she was given from Blair for writing the calligraphy to the Kiss on the Lips party. She was given that dress, so we clocked that. She's wearing that fashion to that event. And she sees Eric and is like, you know, that's not there yet. Okay. So they start to bond and they're like in a hallway. And then we cut back to Dan. And he looks at Serena and is like, "Oh, so I thought you were interested in Brown, but now you're going after Yale just to make this whole event about sabotaging your friend because you don't even really need to care about getting into a college. Like, it's not even serious for you." And good on him for calling that out. That's the truth. It's such privilege. It's so obnoxious. It's like she has all of this opportunity to do great things and to even just be respectful to the opportunities. And he's like, "Yeah, you didn't. And this means something to other people. You're a brat." And so the ice is still not really melting between them. Okay. He's still just kind of like, whatever about her. Yeah. And then Nate walks up and Nate's like trying not to talk to Serena because of Blair. And she's like, "We won't even say hi. This is so awkward, guys." And so she walks away and it's just Nate and Dan. And it's a close up of Nate. And you said, "Wow, they really couldn't have cast a more pretty guy."
Oh, yeah. He's just extremely well manicured.
Well manicured?
Yeah.
Like his face? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, well, his haircut.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like if you typed in give me the most like private school pretty boy into ChatGPT, it would give you a picture of Nate.
Whoa. I mean, this is before Instagram. So, I mean, the word ChatGPT doesn't even belong in this podcast. Redacted. Okay. So they're talking and Nate is like, "You know what? I don't give a fuck about this Dartmouth thing. Here are the drinks." You know, because Dan is actually trying to give him tips and say, "Hey, you should talk about this, bring this up." And he's being a nice guy to Nate. And then Nate's like, "I'm going to be a nice guy to you." And he just says, "Look, why don't you take these drinks and go talk to him for a minute?" And Dan's like, "Really? Oh my God." So he heads out and he introduces himself and you see that interaction happening. And then Nate heads to walk out and his dad is like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" He calls him out and is like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, not good. He definitely got caught. And he says, "You know what, Dad? I don't want to go to Dartmouth. Back off." Kind of confronts him. He walks away. Then we cut back to little Jay and Eric, and they're in the hallway away from people in the event, and they're having their one-on-one. And it's clear that Eric has revealed that he shared why he's at the Ostroff Center and that he had trigger warning, self-harm, and attempted to take his life. And that was a really big deal to share with her and also to have in the plot line. And the fact that the mother tried to cover it up and that was a real reality that he was dealing with. I think again, as somebody who didn't grow up in that world, even without wealth and privilege and status, talking about mental health and things that you go through, or people that you love and things that you go through, it's extremely difficult to talk about, to normalize, or to even feel it's appropriate or okay to exist with those feelings. So I thought that was very powerful to include as part of the storyline right from the get-go in these early episodes. And it shows the compassion of little Jay, and that friendship that really started there. And she says, look, I'm here for you. You can trust me. Then the next scene, she immediately tells her brother, it's not Serena, it's Eric who needs the treatment. But it's safe. Secret's safe. There's a lot of respect there. And then we cut to the event, and Blair is taking center stage. She's like, you know what, Serena, you can interrupt my conversation with Yale, then I'll do this. She gets up there and she's like, I am so grateful for this event, and the charity that we're going to sponsor is going to be the Ostroff Center. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Your life is over, slut.
Oh, God. And whoops. And so we kind of know where this is going, right? Okay. So she has this information. She thinks Serena is the person that has been there. And she says, and this time, this charity is so close to our heart because it's helped one of our own, Serena Vanderwoodson. She's clean and sober from drugs and alcohol because of this rehab. Please, Serena, join me on stage. And at first, she's talking, and Eric and Lily are like, what's going on? What's going on? They're going to expose Eric. And then it comes out that it's Serena, and she walks up, and her mom's like, what are you doing? And she just very gracefully says, thank you, Blair. Thank you for the help at the Ostroff Center, and walks off stage. So she took a L. She took an L.
Hope you're happy.
She took an L for Eric to protect him. And
I just feel bad for Serena.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And we're going to talk about that at the end here, about where our empathy scales are, and for who. So, yeah, wow. And then Brent, you said that sounds like Lawsuit City, which was really funny to me.
Well, I mean, airing out people's medical business and
hippopotamus. Yeah, no. And to my answer, I said, well, when you got money and wealth and stuff, things like laws and stuff kind of go out the window sometimes. But yeah, it is a little fantastical that the doctor would be there and then allow, and then she's not even a patient, and then he's just there and allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie's up. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jack. Oh, we love you, Jackie. She's so cute. I really hope you can join us on the YouTube. It's so fun. The YouTube. All right, so this episode's almost over.
I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna do one more gloss up here, okay? Gotta keep it gloss.
Cute.
So yeah. So she takes the stage. She gracefully thanks Blair, and Serena.
She's so brave.
She's so brave. She's a queen. She deals with a lot, right? It's hard. It's tough to be number one. To be, tall, blonde, and beautiful, and privileged, and blessed, and it's just so tough. I get it. So Serena makes the speech to Dan. She gets up on stage and she's trying to be as she's thanking Blair, she kind of makes a speech. I think it's kind of to Dan about how important forgiveness is and acceptance. And maybe it's kind of directed at Blair too, because she wants Blair to forgive her and move past this cheating scandal with her
This should be fun.
boyfriend that she's still with, Nate. Yeah. And then, Gossip Girl cuts in with some pretty savage narration saying, I was a teenage drug addict is not a winning college essay. Whap, whap. So then
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Right, for sure. And then Lily and Serena are having it out, and she's like, look, I did this for Eric, and I did this to protect him. I'm not a drug addict. This is not real. She's just trying to get back to me, and I'm going to go end it with Blair. I'm going to make things right. So she goes to Blair, and she's like, she literally says this. She says, we good? We square? And I'm like, who wrote that?
Cheese.
Stinky ass Munster cheese. What the hell? Are we square, bitch? Please stop. And B's not having it. And then Dan clocks it and is seeing, B's like, fuck off. We're not reconciling. And again, Serena is just off there struggling. And Dan is clocking this and sees this and says, you know what? I see the good side to you because, like, I didn't understand the complicated parts of the world that you live in, and I judged you too quickly, and I want to be here for you to listen or talk or not talk, and that was like, he's got major sideburns, and he apologizes, and she's like, I've got to get out of here. Obviously, she's got to go. And he's like, and then she says, call me. So maybe I can take you up on the not getting together and not talking. It's like, OMG. Oh my gosh. The whole ice between them has melted.
You can go now.
There's like a huge riverboat with a heart on it sailing right between them now, right? Wow. But like, yeah, are we gonna be square? Like, not yet. Or then we're not getting square yet. So yeah. So Eric is at the event and he's going to leave and he's like, look, I'm going to let you know, Blair. You nasty bitch. I'm the patient. He says, I'm the patient. You outed the wrong person and, how dare you? And Blair has a heart and she feels bad. She's like, oh my God, I had no idea. And he's like, of course you didn't because you think you know everything. Snap, snap, snap with the one-liners, walks off, leaves her with the jaw on the floor. Chuck approaches and says, like, what's going on? And it's like, ugh, you don't even know, Chuck. You were fucking wrong. We were wrong, okay? And it's like, now she could tell Chuck the tea about Eric, or she could keep it to herself and respect her best friend's brother's situation. And when Chuck says, well, what's going on? What was that about? She says, nothing. So she chooses to respect the severity and the friendship, and that's a huge W for Blair. Then we're back at, in Brooklyn, and we got our big Mac Kim behind us as we round out the show. Oh, he's going to be on the steps with us? Yay, he's on the Met steps. Wow, he's so a dark. Big boy. It's okay. Our Bubba's is, he's mostly black, but he's got some German Shepherd coloring, some caramel spots. We got Jack Ham. She's cool. We're back in Brooklyn. It looks like Dan has the book signed by the author of The Petting Zoo, and Rufus is like, wow, it looks like you really made an impression on him. Yeah. And then he makes some comment about like how real men don't show emotions to his son. And I'm like, no. I think Dan is like, I don't even know what to feel or da-da-da. And he's like, real men don't like to share their feelings. It's like, bro, no. Real men share their feelings, okay? Thanks. He's wearing cord necklace and he's got a chain layered on it. Okay, you always got to be looking at Rufus's accessories, not just on his neck, but also on his wrist. Jackie! Now Jackie's on the Met steps with us. She's whippy, Jack.
See you at the concert, right, Jen?
Jacqueline Blair. XOXO, Jackie B. So yeah, then we cut back to Nate and Chuck. They're a little movement from our little tiger girl. They're waking up in Chuck's penthouse, to which Frenty was like, why are they sleeping over together a lot?
Yeah, they spend a lot of time sleeping in the same room, I've noticed, in the last 3 episodes.
So I said that's kind of a foreshadowing of Nate's home life. He doesn't really like to be home. And, Chuck's dad owns this huge hotel. That penthouse is his room, Chuck's room. So they spend a lot of time together and hang out. And I think Nate tries to he just crashes there to avoid being at home because his dad's an asshole. His mom
Nate started thinking about college.
Yeah, he's just thinking about trying to get through today and tomorrow. And I think just it kind of shows how close they are as like friends and bros, and also that Nate is he's not as home as much. And those kind of clues about the characters, longer journeys and their personalities are subtle, but they're there. So I'm glad you picked up on that, because it's like, well, why are they sleeping over together? But again, I think that's a situation that people can relate to in their teenage years. Not feeling comfortable to go home. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, right? Your home can still be a scary place to go to. So the phone is ringing, they're waking up late, and Nate's late for a run with his dad. And when he gets there at Central Park, guess who his dad's with? The damn usher from Dartmouth. He cannot get out of this. His dad is just relentless. And he's like, yeah, son, I told him about your bout of food poisoning last night. Let's show him how you do it. And they go for like some cross-country run. And oh my God, I would just like, I can't even open my eyes right now because I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of pressure. Okay, I opened my eyes. That Nate's dad puts on him. And it was just like, I felt strangled for him. And then we cut to, we have a final song playing out, and we're doing our final little check-ins on our characters, our people. And Eric is on a laptop at the Offshore Center playing solitaire. Definitely.
Thing called MySpace, where you post all this information online.
Yeah. I don't think he was on MySpace. He was on the solitaire, but he was there. And then Jenny comes in and he's like, oh my God, what are you doing? And she's like, is it okay if I visit? And it's clear, like, he's like, yeah, my mom never visits. Like, hell yeah. So the friendship is there. And little Jay is wearing an iconic owl necklace, long chain owl necklace. I think I need to get one and bring it back for the show at some point. Obviously, I was a big long chain owl necklace person in the 2010s. Do with the information what you will.
They're hydrangeas.
I will love that one always. Also, if you hear any fun sound in the background, that's a fan to make sure that our camera doesn't overheat during production, because we have a lot of production going on over here.
Yeah, we're just trying to cool off the camera a little bit so we can keep the show rolling.
Yeah, well, the show's almost over because we're hitting our final iconic scene. It's in Central Park. It's raining, and Serena is on a bench looking like Edie Sedgwick. She's got this iconic black floppy hat, some just dreamy eye.
This is Brooklynville, not the Warp Tour.
No, this is Central Park. And she's reading a book on a bench under this covered area by the fountain. And Blair comes up in a very cute heels, chiffon blouse, little tie thing, like very cute, but like, how did you just get here and walk through Central Park in that outfit? She's like, I knew I would find you here. And she's ready to try to work things through. And she pulls out this letter that she wrote Serena while she was gone. But she never sent it, the unsent letter. And she's just basically pouring her heart out about how hard it was to not have Serena there during her father's leaving of her mother for a, 30 or 20-year-old, I think 30-year-old model who's a male. So that was a real female bestie moment. And those moments can be really hard to have. I can't even imagine dealing with somebody that would have slept with my boyfriend. That you're out. Like, you're out of my life. Like, no. This is reality, people.
There's nothing Gossip Girl likes more than a good cat fight.
As you can tell by the brawls in like every episode. But no, that person would not be in my life anymore. But this is a huge bestie moment where they're confronting each other. And this is a part of womanhood, sisterhood that It's very hard and scary to put your feelings out there, to make mistakes, to tell people how you really feel, and then to have that person apologize and reciprocate the love. It was really beautiful. This is the first like genuine apology from Serena that we get, and
This is some good stuff.
This is some fucking great stuff. And the rain is falling, and they stand up, and they, there's this iconic scene of like the pillars between them with the fountain behind them, and it's raining, and it kind of zooms out of the tunnel, and Gossip Girl's narrating about how this one nation can't have two queens and da 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 da, but it's like, this forced rivalry between Serena and Blair, yet they're best friends, yet they're frenemies. And I think that's a narrative that society puts on women all the time, since the beginning of time, current time, and will be in the future. Whether you're a pop star, an actress, it's just, they love to put women against women. We can't,
That's enough, ladies.
It is. It's enough. There's enough room and light for everybody. But in this show, the room and the light, it can be limited, and we struggle to uphold and lift everybody up, right? So I think that's very interesting. So she reads this letter, and while that happened, Brent was like, "What's this bullshit?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Wait. They're having a bestie moment. Wait." So now tell me about this. Tell me about why you thought this was bullshit.
Well, if I got ousted at a party with a bunch of college recruits, and they made me get on stage and made me out to look like I was in rehab for drugs or something,
even though
when I'm trying to protect my little brother,
even though even though you slept with their boyfriend.
Well, that's not cool, but that's like a separate thing.
No,
but
you gotta own that. That's you.
Okay, I'll accept that, but still, to publicly humiliate me in front of a bunch of prestigious schools when I'm trying to maybe go to college, that's I'm never talking to you again type shit.
So it's not that I slept with your boyfriend. It's you outed me in front of people. Because for me, it's you slept with my boyfriend. That's the fucking, that's
well, to be
gnarly.
honest, I kind of forgot about that aspect of it. So yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's
yeah, hopefully they can squash it.
Brent, I forgot about that aspect. That's the whole part. Oh, Brent.
Actually,
oh, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, I'll backtrack on that.
No, that's okay.
It's not cool to cheat or sleep with others.
So do you see where I come from? Blair's empathy more?
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, in this episode, coming fresh after just watching it, I was on Serena's side this whole episode, and I thought Blair was being lame.
Well, yeah, sure. Scheming and manipulative actions, competitiveness is very lame, but it's her way of working through the emotions of how hurt she was by what Serena did. Not an excuse, just an explanation.
Don't try to be cute, okay?
Well, no, I'm just trying to be honest, and also let you know that
I don't know about that.
I also just want to let you know that yeah, I mean, none of that is okay.
How about a grilled cheese with truffle oil?
Please don't take me back to the episode where he essayed her. Don't. We're done with that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
this is just all season 1 stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just
That's
looking around.
That's when he took her to the kitchen and was touching her thigh. Anyways, we're not ending the episode on that note. We're ending the episode on a higher note, which is Poison Ivy, Battle of the Ivy Leagues. We're not sure where Chuck wants to go to college. He has a hotel right now. Doesn't need to go to college. Serena pivoted from Brown to just fuck over Blair. And then Blair was like, I'm going to fuck you over. She wants to go to Yale. Serena kind of wants to go to Brown. Dan wants to go to Dartmouth. Nate's dad wants Nate to go to Dartmouth. Nate wants to go to USC. And there you go. It's very college focus. You remember that? Ugh. Like college is going to solve all your problems.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow. That's fun. Well, anyways, I think it's time to sign off for today.
How the did that happen?
Yeah. So what? For those not viewing, the camera just kind of
Oh, they saw it.
tilted and fell like off to the side a little bit. But final thoughts on Poison Ivy: the behavior is poisonous, the soundtrack contagious, and the drama limitless.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Come back next week. XOXO.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Actually, I'm
XOXO, Gossip Girl. They're hydrangeas.
Thank you. Push in the chair.
This party is for you. Okay.
Let's take a close look at the brooch here.
They're hydrangeas.
It's not in focus, but... Okay. Have a great week. See you next week, Gossip Girlies.
They're hydrangeas.